upstairs. Nia coming in, but will take the hit. Eruption on the generator as well. Eruption and Call of Ride. Nia does take a hit through the wall. So I don't know if oh, and the dissolution value! These survivors. Deliverance from Claudette. Sprint bursting to the hot.
It's the same with these masks. In the one event, she didn't get a mask either.
No!
Like,
oh, the ground!
Yeah, oh, that was high. Look at this thing. Oh.
They're trying.
Pokey, nerf Nancy, man.
She's gonna get hacked, maybe.
Oh my god, she might just get hacked potentially. I think she does. Holy cow. I cannot believe.
They do get the spirit reset and they get the down.
Yes, they will get the survivors leaving the trial, and there's going to be the teleport with the Anna. She's right here, but Nia needs to go.
Hey, what is up, guys? It's Guildspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. I'm joined here today by Cup of Jojo. How you doing today, Cup of Jojo?
Yo, good morning. Hello, I'm doing well. How are you doing today, sir?
Not too bad, especially with some artist gameplay in front of us here today as we see Infinity versus Tremor here on the Azerov's resting place.
Man, I am excited for today's matches. I'm excited to see what each one of these teams bring to the Fog today. Starting off with the artist, like you mentioned, we get our first down here on the Nancy.
Yeah, really clean first chase here by the artist, to say the least. Definitely setting the pace for this match here today, but we'll have to wait and see what the survivors have in store. Though I do want to note here, first perk being revealed, actually technically second, obviously there's Corrupt, but the first perk other than Corrupt being revealed, of course, is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, regressing the most progressed gen by a total of 25%.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how the artist here is going to hold this side of the map. It does look like we do have a 3-gen on this side, compared to the other side having a 4-gen. Staying on this side of the map will allow some of the pressure to be held, but I'm interested to see how these survivors play against this 3-gen this early in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to say the least. Artists just really good at harassing gens from afar, slowing the game down with their Dire Crows, but until just now, the survivors have been very good about not getting swarmed, though Fang Min just narrowly dodging the Crows there, jumping into a locker to get rid of them a little bit quickly too, and looks like the artist is going to go back to the hook to secure the second stage.
And I think here now, being able to secure that second stage, we're able to go after the Feng Min here, being able to chase her, hopefully get a quick down to continue to apply the pressure on this side of the map. Feng being smart and running to the other side to hopefully get some hills, but we do have a survivor here going in for the save right now.
Yeah, but shooting off the Crows just a little bit early. Artist was hoping to get a double hit there with the Dire Crows and the Severed Hands, but unfortunately just getting the Killer Instinct. Nancy now in chase as Artist wants to survivor out of the game. Ronnie with the vault and Artist with the down. Unless there is a decisive strike here, that there will be the first survivor sent back to the campfire via the Entity.
And we have 3 gens left on our first death of the game. Again, this will allow for some really great pressure if she's able to hold this 3-gen here.
Yeah, and with that next perk being revealed there, Pop Goes the Weasel. That is going to make the lives of these survivors that much more difficult. Also want to note that Nancy was hooked on a hook that was not the initial Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, meaning that the artist does have a Scourge Hook here on this side of the map available to them for every fresh down coming up.
Oh man, and being able to use that for the next 3 times, allowing to have that pressure, especially on that gen that was almost completed, to then see pop. Man, just being able to slow down these generators for this 3 gen is really going to help her.
Yeah, to say the least, but looks like the Survivor simply has dodged the Artist quite well. Artist taken a long time to find them, potentially allowing for the rest of their Survivor team to sneak in on that gen that we saw popped earlier. We'll have to wait and see if that works out for the Survivors, or if the Artist has gotten the better of them, as unfortunately for them, that flight path being cut just a little short, unable to get that Serena. But we do see Crows going off, seeing the Nia get hit, and the gen at about 50%, but gonna get regressed by 2.5%, and followed by 0.5% per second thereafter.
And I wonder how many survivors are over here on this gen. Is it just one? Is there a couple? If we were able to double team that, I think we would see it actually be complete before we even knew it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, and we see that being exactly the case as we see that gen in the middle getting completed. Honestly, this is, in my opinion, probably the smartest move, at least as of right now. The Artist doing a really good job of defending these gens. Yes, you want to get in and break this 3 gen, especially with a lot of progress on these gens, but if you're a little bit too hasty, you could end up hurting yourself in the long run by not getting that 4th gen completed on the other side of the map.
Yeah, especially even with running Scorch Hook here, if there is to be a down, say they 99 this solo gen that's over here, getting a Survivor over on a Scorch Hook, then having to run back to this 99 gen can cost a lot.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, but Artist being a bit brave here, diving into the other side of the map, seeing scratch marks going back towards their 3 gen. However, they're now in chase with the Nia, but they have yet to be able to get a down here. Just some hits where these Survivors have been able to reset pretty quickly, and Nia doing a great job evading that Diacrow's flight path, and looks like they will be holding W over for Jack.
Ah, man, the way in which they are able to just dodge those dire crows with that pathing, man, it was awesome. Oh, with that dire crow hit from across the map, that's one of the things that I respect so much about the Artist, is being able to time those just right to be able to get those hits with dire crows.
Yeah, absolutely. And Artist doing a great job here boxing out the Fung here, where we do see her kind of trapped in this corner. The question is if the Artist can waste enough time in order to, or use enough time in order to get the down. We do see that down on the Fung. However, there is a Scourge Choke here, meaning that's going to be 25% off the most progressed gen, which I'd imagine is the Crane. But with this 3-2 split, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Survivors on that far gen just looking to crank it out, get the 5th generator, and get 2 Survivors out of this match.
Yeah, and it sounds like we do have this generator here over on the right side. Does sound like there is some progression. Continuing to send the Dire Crows over to the Crane gen. We're not getting any readings here, or any killer instinct off of this generator. And it doesn't, I wonder if there are any Survivors in the area. We're gonna go ahead and finish up here, but we get, what is the name of that perk again? I'm so sorry.
No worries, Blast Mine. Yeah, it's something that you don't see all too often, but has become more and more popular in comp with the Gen Kick meta. And I mean, we did see those scratch marks as the Artist was approaching, but Artist just wanted to get that kick in of pop beforehand. And looks like at this point, they are just trying to search for a Survivor who has yet to be hooked. Right now, they have Fang, who has been hooked once, Nancy, Ozzy out of the match. If they can find the Zarina or the Nia, that would be a huge boon for this killer as they try and go for that double hit there, but only getting the killer instinct.
And it looks like we are able to find some of the Survivors over here as well. Sending a Dire Crow back over to where that 4 gen was. Let's go ahead and get in chase with Fung. But Fung
Yeah,
has
looks
already
like
been
they're
hooked.
going to go for this chase here into the main building. The question is this chase really worth it? Like I mentioned earlier, they've already been hooked once already, so going for the chase here means that they can only get a max of 2 points. If the other 2 survivors are on generators and primed and ready to get it complete, that could mean a total of 6 points escaping via the exit gate.
I was shocked by that hit, but you know, sometimes Pocos just works in our favor, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Sympathetic row there for the flight path, getting the hit too. That there will be 2 points for the artist here, as this will be the second hook for Fung. The question is whether or not it will be meaningful, as we do see the gen popping off in the distance and both exit gates being revealed to be on the opposite side of the map. However, a bit of a noise notification there on the exit gate that there is in fact a no way out. So these survivors have about 36 seconds before they're able to attempt to power these exit gates.
And if they try to go for a save here, now having to make their way all the way to the lower side of the map. Let's see how these survivors play this out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, though, the artist's kind of in a predicament here. They want to, you know, keep that survivor on the hook, get another point if possible. But if they can get this down on this fresh survivor, that would be a huge boon for them. So I imagine they are going to attempt, as we do see the unhook there on the Fung. A chase now with the Nia. No progress on these exit gates, and a flight path too, getting the hit.
Oh man, what a beautiful hit. What a well-placed crow. Again, it looks like Nia is going to be holding the W to the other side of the map. If we are able to get it down here, we do get the crows on Nia. But if we do get it down here, bringing it to this side of the map will then allow for the survivors to start working on those exit gates, but then having to take another path, another long journey to the lower part of the map. And again, Nia is going to be a fresh hook, if I believe.
Yeah, that is exactly right. So there's the potential for 6 points in favor of the artist here as Nia does go down. They're close to that pallet, but not close enough. And I don't know, things are looking a little bit grim here for the Nia. Opposite side of the map, nowhere near the hatch, nowhere near the exit gates. Exit gates open, 4 minutes on the clock with the slowed down EGC, but 2 survivors saying, nope, not today. We ain't gonna make it work here. And that there will be the Nia sent back to campfire via the entity.
What a great game.
Yeah, amazing match by both sides. Really good play here by the artist. Really great plays by the survivor as well. Overall, just a really good start for the matches here today for A2. But with that being said, we are going to be switching sides now. This time, we're going to be seeing Tremor's Plague versus the artist survivor team. All right. And we are back once again, this time with Tremor piloting the Plague against Infinity's Survivor team. And we are going to need to see Tremor get a 3K, more or less. If they get a 2K plus a fresh, then it pretty much will get the same, or 2 freshes rather. But a 3K is pretty much the bare minimum for Tremor. And with Plague on ARP, I think it's doable. How about you, JoJo?
I think it's doable as well. Like right at the very beginning, we see here corrupt intervention. We do see the Plague going ahead and using her M2, her vial, to go ahead and start infecting things. We do get our first a survivor infected here with that good old vial. We are running though in the corrupted area, allowing the other survivors to go to the other side of the map to start working on gens, but I'm not seeing anyone becoming sick, meaning they may not be on that side quite yet working on those gens.
Yeah, not to mention, even if they were, things are getting slowed down just a little bit as these survivors are keenly aware of the existence of a thanatophobia.
And with that down, we do see the corrupt intervention leave, now giving the survivors an opportunity to be able to go for these unvomited on gens.
Yeah, no, that is really important to note here, especially as the Plague looks to be setting up for a 3-gen here with the Ace. So far, no other perks have been revealed. We are just aware of Thanatophobia and Corrupt Intervention. The other two still a little bit unknown. Survivors maybe working on that gen. I don't think the Plague got the hit there, but it's hard to say nowadays as Spectator no longer sees score events. However, it doesn't look like there are any survivors going in for the unhook just yet, as the Plague doing a pretty thorough search of every nook and cranny possible, and looks like they are content with getting this hook to second stage.
This side, like last game, we saw that the 4-gen was on the lower part of the map. The 4-gen is now here on the top side of the map, allowing for again, a nice hold against these survivors.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like Ace will in fact move to second stage, making him that much closer to the impact of the campfire via the entity. This will allow Plague now to move out into the rest of the realm and search for where these survivors might be, but looks like these survivors have been content on the other side of the map, just slowly but surely cranking out these gens. That's 1, that's 2, soon to be 3 generators back to back to back.
Yeah, now we have to face that 4-gen. We do see her getting her M2 power here. Is it called Corrupt Vial? Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. And we do see that unhook there on the Ace, and looks like an unfortunate DC for the survivors, since it has been past 2 minutes. That there, in fact, will be full points. So these survivors in a much rougher position than they were in just a few moments ago. But looks like Plague gonna be dropping chase of the Jake, wanting to find the Ace instead and get them out of the match. And looks like instead they have found the Renato, who does have a bounce landing, getting some pretty good distance there off the hill.
Yeah, and being able to go to that lower side of the map, being able to pull away from these generators, allowing the survivors to get some progression on them.
Yeah, absolutely. But Plague going back to these gens, trying to see if there's anyone here, and there looks to be an Ace, a very dangerous place for him to be, to say the least, now that he is injured and on death hook. But dropping a pallet early, trying to get some distance here from the Plague as they make their way towards the main building.
Yeah, I was very surprised too. The vial had just ran out right as he was about to drop that pallet. If there was just a little bit more time on that vial, we would have been able to see it down over that pallet.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ace going down. 2 survivors now sent back to campfire via the entity, leaving just the Jake and the Renato to complete 2 more generators. Keep in mind that there was also a Scourge Hook Pain Residence, which does mean the most progressed gen was regressed by 25%. I will note, since we did have a early DC, that does mean Plague only has 2 more Scourge Hook Pain Residences available to them at this moment in time. Though the question is whether or not these 2 survivors can break into this 4-gen effectively and get a 2-man out in order to claim victory here in set number 1. If not, we'll be moving to set number 2, where we will be seeing a Oni mirror match over on the gold tower.
There's always a part of me whenever I see a DC, especially in these situations, where I'm like, start rooting for the survivors, like, come on guys, you got this, because I'm like, I understand how unfortunate a DC can be during one of these matches.
Yeah, no, it is always rough, to say the least, and we try and give as much wiggle room as possible in the instance that those do happen, but at a certain point it kind of is a foregone conclusion. And we do see the Renato here still in chase. Plague trying to get them infected, will successfully do so, and though there's a fake at that window, there is no escape for the Renato here, who will be put on a hook over here on the shack side. Looks like Plague looking around for another Scourge Hook to put them on, get some more regression going.
And they do get the regression here over on that gen that is being worked on. If they are able to secure another kill here, if a Renato does die on hook, that is what this team needs, if I remember correctly.
Yep, Renato being dead on hook is exactly what Tremor needs in order to secure victory here in set number 1. However, with the pickup on Jake as well, looks like the entity has sung and rung in the end of this trial and the set, as Tremor will take set number 1, moving us into set number 2. At this point in time, Infinity is going to either need to tie the next set or win it in order to force a set number 3, but we'll wait and see what their Onis are capable of.
I'm excited to see some Oni, man.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited as well. Oni is always one of those killers that, I mean, it can be very hit or miss. Sometimes it can be just absolutely off the walls crazy, or sometimes the survivors can just be on point with their pallet throws and just extending chase again and again and again, robbing the Oni of their power. But with that survivor being sent back to the entity, that is only at a few more seconds before this does end. And we will be going on a quick break as we do set up in this next lobby. But all right, and we are back for try number 3 of Tremor versus Infinity, this time with an Oni mirror match on the cold tower, and Oni out on the prowl searching for a survivor. We do see scratch marks over by that corrupt gen. The question is, can the Oni find where they've gone? And there is the Renato.
Ooh, what a great first hit as well. Just a little bit of a mind game there. Renato hops over that, giving the Oni the ability to be able to start collecting that blood for his power.
Yeah, and Oni seems content just grabbing 2 orbs at a time, hoping that Renato will eventually vault there. And we do see the slow vault, but it doesn't matter. Unless Renato has maybe a license play, which would have already been used here, that does still give Oni more orbs with that splintered hull. And Oni now with the power in hand, they'll be looking around as Corrupt Intervention's still up. We do find the Nia, and Oni is going to be going for a insta-down here. Nia, though, potentially with a head-on here. Oni kind of sensing a 2, will get hit by it, though, and that will be a quick stun and some good distance from the Nia.
Man, and with just the size of this map, Oni is able to create quite a bit of pressure with quick downs if he's able to get them, especially here on Comp Tower.
Yeah, absolutely, though. Nia with the flashbang trying to go for the insta-down, but Oni getting caught on that corner. Honestly, wasn't thinking the flashbang, or the firecracker rather, was going to be able to get it, but just barely. But Oni not falling for that corner a second time round, as they will run out of their power at the very end, but will secure the first down of this match.
And that firecracker, whenever I see a well-timed firecracker, it just does something to my soul that makes me so happy, because it's not that easy to get, especially during a run. And also, quite often, the killer does hear the sizzle of the firecracker, allowing them to just deter from becoming blind. But when it's pulled off, man, it warms my soul.
No, I feel ya on that, and want to say a very cheeky Renato here with the palace done out of nowhere. Not sure if they're hiding from the Oni and just kind of got caught out of position or what, but Oni going back for the unhook here as they do see the scratch marks going towards. That is in fact the ace, and it looks like Oni will have to eat through the BT here, though. They're just going to wait this out. Nia doesn't have much to go. We'll see if they reach 10 seconds by the time they get to the pallet, and Oni not taking a chance. And Nia wanting to get down, potentially a decisive strike, or maybe just another survivor. Yeah, the ace just hanging around looking for that pallet stun.
Well, with the ace hanging around, the slight little wait here, we are able to collect a little bit more blood for the Oni's power. Again, kind of being a little bit cautious here, making sure that we don't get it down or a pallet stun for the release of the survivor. And there is no DC here.
Yeah, no decisive
DS.
strike, and no pallet stun either. Do want to point out something that we didn't point out earlier. There is in fact a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, and I'm thinking we're going to see another one here. No, we do not. They still have only 3. That's right, because Nia did get hooked. It's still one of those things that I'm getting used to with Scourge Hook Pain Resonance only proccing once per survivor's first hook.
And it is it confuses me all the time. Even when I'm out playing killer, I'm like, wait a second, didn't I not, I hooked you? Okay, I guess I don't get any more value out of this with you. So, okay, we're moving on, I guess. Oni going into his power swing here if we can get a quick down, or we're just gonna go straight for the Nia here.
Yeah, Oni trying to get a survivor out of the match as quickly as possible. I mean, that is the most effective strategy, but we saw that the gen in main has a lot of progress. The question is whether or not the Oni is going to be able to stop them from completing that generator in time. We do see to pick up kind of close to that pallet. They might be able to get a pallet stun, but looks like no one nearby to assist this time round, and this will be Nia sent back to the campfire via the entity here in trial number 3. The only problem here for Oni now is they are a basic M1 killer until they can get another hit and some more blood orbs. We did see some earlier up in main where Renato was earlier, so I imagine Oni going to make their way over there and potentially try and get some insta-downs going here.
Well, the survivor is taking them here over to the tower. It doesn't look like I didn't see any blood. Maybe they weren't even looking in the right direction towards the gen to see the blood. But again, we are in chase. Are we in chase with Nancy? We are in chase with Nancy here, and I'm gonna see if I can speak this into existence here. Gil, I would love to see a 180 down in Oni's power.
Yeah, that is always a fun thing to see, but that will first require Oni to get a hit here, and he is struggling, though Bamboozle going to be doing some work here, as we did see that window blocked off by the entity. Oni now with power in hand. The question is, can they continue chasing? No, they realize they cannot, as they're going to have to dash over to these generators, check how much progress they have, and potentially get a down before too long. This gen, though, pretty much completed. No pop goes weasel, no additional gen regression. Right now, the only known perks that we have seen is Bamboozle, Scourge Hook, and Corrupt. Last one yet to be revealed just yet, but Oni looking around frantically for the survivor, so they are unable to complete this generator.
And we're gonna go ahead. It looks like, oh, I guess we're not gonna head down. We do have still a 3-gen up here on near the tower. A little here in the middle, but also the 2 that are still up top, with the main gen getting completed. We do have Ace hopping down and Oni unfortunately getting out of his power. Was that a balance landing, or is that just Ace being able to get away?
It's hard to say. It looked like it may have been a bounce landing, as we didn't hear that grunt on the drop down. What I do want to note is the parental guidance, where we saw Oni get stunned, no scratch marks from the Ace thereafter as they went up into main. Oni almost getting turned around by that, but I don't know if this is the right chase here. There's another gen popping off the distance. Still 2 survivors left on gens, even if the Ace in chase. The gen that the Ace was on earlier with a ton of progression too.
And one thing I'm noticing here is that the Oni isn't really breaking that many pallets on this side of the map, allowing the survivors to consistently have stronger loops against this Oni.
Yeah, I mean, the survivors doing a fantastic job managing the Oni through and through. Oni just not able to reduce these resources in an effective way. There's the flashbang for the Nancy, but the down will come in. The question is, will it matter here? It all comes down to if the Oni's able to get the Ace here, and it looks like they're jumping into the locker. Maybe a potential head-on attempt, but there's the pick.
And there is the last gen as well. We do have Ace here that is going to be hooked. We do see Renato go ahead and use that life, I believe, to get over to Nancy in hopes to be able to pick her up.
Yeah, I imagine maybe for the people. No, not even for the people. Just able to get them up pretty quickly there. Maybe with that med kit in hand. Oni with their power, though I imagine they're going to pop it off here, trying to get this down. Renato on their way to the unhook. Nancy trying to get to these execates. But no, looks like Oni here going to be going for the power. A locker jump from the Renato. Oni maybe not realizing it and kind of just holding their ground here. There's the locker pick. The question is, will the Nancy go for the unhook, or are they going to go for a one-man out?
They did get the unhook here, continuing to apply pressure. This Oni is going into power in hopes to get another down, maybe on the Nancy or the Ace here. Let's see who we're in chase with. It's with the Nancy, and we do get a nice little flick there from the Oni, leaving the Nancy down on the ground and returning to hook to see if we can get Ace down once again.
Yeah, we see scratch marks, or rather crows, kind of back here in this back corner. Only seen it too, but not able to get line of sight here on this Ace. They're around here somewhere, and the Oni knows it.
Man, and the thing is, and I always believe this, Ace is probably one of those quietest survivors. So not being able to see those scratch marks, not even being able to hear the Ace, allows him to continue to be a little bit stealthy. Doesn't look like I haven't been able to see any of the doors yet. I wonder if there's any progress on them.
It's hard to say, and we do see Ace going in for the unhook here. And fact of the matter is, these survivors are in a bit of trouble. Oni was struggling for the majority of this match, but at this point in time, they are in a commanding position. We see Renato coming in for the body block here with the BT. Ace going to be able to get a little bit of distance. No progress on these X gates. Do want to point out there was in fact a no way out, so that might be why we didn't see any progress throughout this entire time. But now we see Renato, Ace somewhere nearby as well, though. Looks like scratch marks going back to Groundhog on the Nancy.
That is correct, and it looks like No Way Out was just procced. So we still have with 4 survivors with hooked. We do have quite a bit of time here until these survivors are able to actually start working on these doors. The Oni is able to get a lot of points here by consistently bringing back these hooks by hooking these survivors here in the end game.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I thought No Way Out had already procced with how long this endgame has been going, but no, that's 4 stacks, that's 60 seconds of downtime where these survivors are not able to do anything but potentially reset, potentially get this unhook. The Oni turning this game around out of nowhere from a very rough start.
Yeah, and like I had mentioned earlier, not breaking those pallets seemed to not be in the Oni's favor, but it looks like we're saying here at the end, we are seeing quite a bit of dominating power from this Oni.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the Oni trying to get further into the map so they can get their power and rush over to the exit gates. I mean, their only hope is to just have enough blood and enough time, but I think 20 seconds will have passed before the Oni can get there. So this will be the Ace and Nancy out the exit gates. We'll have to wait and see though. And yep, there it is.
What a great play by these survivors, as well as this Oni. Oh man, I thought the Oni was definitely going to be able to secure a 3K, but the way that these survivors waited out the No Way Out there at the end allowed for them definitely to get that 2-man escape.
All right, and we are back once again for what could be the final trial of this match between Infinity and Tremor, as we see Infinity's Oni against Tremor's Survivor team, and they're going to need to get a 3K 10 hook here in order to claim victory. Anything less than that will result in a win for Tremor, and they'll walk away victorious here in round number 3. With that being said, Oni now in chase with what looks to be the Claudette. However, drop and chase due to a bounce landing. Now finding another survivor here, going towards the middle of the map, though diving back over towards main. Oni seemingly losing line of sight though.
Yeah, and what we do see here in play already, we have seen 2 perks. We see our corrupt intervention, and then as the Oni went through that main building window, we heard oh man, why I literally had the name and now it's gone. Where did it go?
It feels like, Jojo, you may have been bamboozled.
I was definitely bamboozled by that perk, forgetting the name, but we still see no hit from the Oni, even after using bamboozled there at the window.
Yeah, a really slow start here for the Oni. Now, we want to also mention that in the last trial, we saw a really slow start as well with a very strong finish, but we'll have to wait and see here. We do want to note that this Oni, though, reducing resources bit by bit throughout the match and dropping Chase immediately after, trying to get these hits in so they can claim their power. Now in chase with what looks to be Nia, though no, this is a Nancy it looks like, and we're going to be trading chase partners here as Oni trying to go for the hit, narrowly missing though as we do see that life.
Yeah, that was a great life here. Again, keeping this pallet up as well, giving some really great room for survivors to consistently, I mean, make this into a much larger loop than it originally is.
Yeah, no,
Words are
Nancy's
hard.
doing a fantastic job linking tiles here. We do note that there are resources missing, however, and Nancy is going to get caught out just a little bit here with that bamboozle taking the first hit of this match. No gens popping off just yet, though. Spoke a little bit too soon as that there is the first gen. I imagine next two are not far behind.
Yeah, when they were in chase there in the middle with the ace, that middle gen did have some good progress on it as well. Oni is able to get his power. Let's see if we can do some damage here.
Yeah, we see that Ace, speaking of, looks like they're going towards the pallet. Ace trying to see if they can get the pallets done, but no, Oni getting the down instead.
There's that 180 that I was speaking into existence. It makes me so happy when Onis are able to do that.
Yeah, really good play there by the Oni, to say the least, and a Scourge Hook paying residence on top of which, or regressing the most progressed gen by 25%. Oni with a lot of power too still left in hand, so it is very likely that they will be able to get their power here with these Blood Orbs, but just barely unable to get there, as we do see the second gen popping off.
And with that second gen popping off, we do see Ace coming off of the hook as well. Again, this middle gen having a decent amount of progress. I'd probably say maybe around 50%, but we do see the survivor saying no blood orbs for the Oni, as that ace seemed to be healed right off of hook, and it does look like a desert out here for Oni's blood.
Yeah, no additional blood orb. I mean, they just need one here, one hit, one blood orb, faking out the window there, but Oni's seen it happen before. The Nia here can just loop this window as well as main quite effectively, and with a flashbang as well, blinding the Oni. Nia here getting quite a bit of distance, though with any Oni's bamboozle, looks like they will end up dropping chase as Nia making their way over towards Shaq, and Oni in a bit of a tough position here.
Yeah. And now that gen is starting to kick almost like a Ford's engine in winter, but these survivors are consistently applying pressure here to this Oni. We're going to go ahead and see the bamboozle happening here at Shaq, forcing hopefully a hit here, but we do have a pallet that is down, allowing for the survivor to continue to keep a pretty safe distance away from this Oni. Doesn't look like the survivor is leaving quite yet, but continuing to force this tile, keeping the Oni here for a little bit longer than they should, but again, allowing for enough space. Ooh, what a reach for that hit, getting that power. Again, like we saw in the last game, we did see a slow start. Let's see how things roll out here for this Oni as we enter close here to the end of the game with only one gen left.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. No one on Death Hook, no one primed and ready to be sent back to campfire via the entity. Gen's going strong, and we only know of 3 perks, 4th one still unknown, very likely an endgame perk, but Oni with a fantastic pick there, trying to find where the survivor might be, and ends up calling it right. The question is this a Scourge Hook on top of which? And it is, in fact, regressing most progressed gen by 25%. Oni, though, with only about 3/4 of their power, so they're going to need to get another hit here in order to get their power again and potentially snowball the remainder of this match.
Yeah, or find out where that ace is and start to collect blood. But again, being drawn back to the shack, again, away from some of the vital gens that are already being completed. They did bamboozle. Oh, the bamboozle is already gone. We do get a hit, getting that power. Let's see where the Oni goes.
And we see the ace once again here on this gen. Oni probably would wish to see any other survivor get another Scourge Shot, but find the ace getting it down as well. I imagine they're going to slug out here and try and go back to the gen on the opposite side, and sure enough, that's exactly what they're going to do here. And 5th gen popping off in the distance. Oni trying to get the down, will get the down on the Nia. That's 2 survivors down on the ground. Can they make it 3 with the Nancy here as well? And looks like Nancy is going to try and take the corner. Will force the pick here as we do see the pickup on the ace from the Claudette. Oh, it's going to be a close one, that's for sure.
Oh man, and the thing is, we've only seen 3 perks, so I'm wondering what this 4th one is gonna be. We're just gonna have to wait and see, because Oni was in his power. Let's see what happens. There's that 4th perk. It is No Way Out with 2 survivors on a hook near the same area. These hooks are rather close. That heal hook probably being the stronger of the 2 hooked survivors.
Yeah, really strong position here for the Oni. However, I think we see an unhook coming in from the Claudette. Yeah, sure enough, there it is. Oni now wanting to get their power, try and get some speed in, see if they can close out this match strong, as they will get their power here. All 4 survivors off of the ground and off of hooks. Now, can they make use of their power and get potentially a 2, 3, 4-man slug, as Oni running the corner here, trying to see where the survivors going, and they're going to force the pick. I mean, this is a strong play, as we've seen before. It gets the Oni out of their power. It means that they can continue these chases, especially as No Way Out is now expired, allowing for these survivors to escape via the exit gates, as Nia is sent back to campfire via the entity.
Woo! Man, and just the positioning here too at the end of the game, with all of this blood, all of the survivors injured, we see that the Oni is able to get his power back rather quickly. That looks like 10 stone instead of a survivor down there.
Yeah, Oni hoping to maybe flick around that corner, but not realizing the pallet was still down. We see the ace here going around the corner, trying to use the geometry to their advantage, and ace will dodge the hit, as they will make their way towards the shack, maybe try to go for a hatch play, but ace will go down, though I think this has given the Nancy and Claudette enough time to power the exit gate, and this is looking like a 2-man out.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, it looks like that 3rd light is not on, so they still have some time that they have to get here to get that door open. But we are gonna get a hook here on the Nancy, drawing her. Ooh, it doesn't look like there is a hook in the area, or he's just wanting to be able to get create enough pressure going back to that door.
Yeah, I mean, this is the question, right? Both doors have some decent progress on them. Ace here, I imagine Claudette making her way the other way. Yeah, Ace just going to force the issue and say, all right, if you don't want to come chase me, I'm going to just do the exit gate and escape. And that's exactly what these survivors need, to just force the situation. And with that pallet stun, I imagine Claudette now on her way for the pickup on the Nancy. Oni trying to get their power quickly to do something, anything, in order to stop these survivors from escaping, but I think it might just be a little bit too late, as we see a head-on from the ace as well, extending chase even further.
And that door over on the other side is opened up, wasting enough time and only allowing 2 sacrifices to the entity, and 2 of the other survivors escaping this trial.
Yeah, very, very strong play here from the survivors. Great play by the Oni, especially in the end game. Just was not good enough to walk away victorious here, as Tremor will be victorious here in set number 2, meaning that they do walk away with the W here in round 3 for A2. And GG, well played to infinity.